Yeah, what's the deal, baby? It's your boy once again back with another video, and I'm breaking down exactly what led me up to selling my brand, why I wanted to sell my brand, and then on top of that, the reason why I pulled back at the last minute and I was like, fuck that, I'm not selling my brand. So let's get into it. So if you guys don't know anything about my story and my come up and stuff like that, you know, I started straight out the trunk, and just like what I tell everybody, I know what it's like selling t-shirts out the trunk of a car, and I know what it's like making $70,000 in a day off of clothes. And that in between gap was in between 23 years old and where I'm at right now. And I did it fully organic. I did it the right way. I just stacked up my skills over time, and I stayed focused on one thing. And yeah, and this is just free game for anybody that's going through this or that's about to go through this. If this is what you want to do, or anything in life, if you said that you a hooper, a clothing brand owner, whatever it may be, stay focused on that one thing until the goal gets complete. You know what I mean? My goal with my brand was always to make something that was deeper than clothing, have such a strong message and a strong community that people resonated with. Not just only that, but for as well with myself, I wanted freedom too. So my whole thing is, I look back, I reflected, you know, and I'm just like, damn, I've been doing this for 8-9 years. Just like when I tell you that there's 3 things that you will always need when it comes to running a brand or a business in general, and that's knowledge, resources, and capital. So I started looking at everything from an airplane mode, and I was like, okay, well, I got 8-9 years of knowledge. I know I'm not sunk right there. And I got resources that can go get me more resources, right? So I know that I'm kind of not bottlenecked there. But when it came to the capital, that's where I was like grabbed by like the ball sack, you know what I mean? And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to give ownership and all my years of hard work to somebody else. But at the same time, I was so burnt out. I was just like, fuck it. Somebody cut me a multi-6-figure check. They can take it, run it up to multi-millions, and I'm just completely done with it. And basically, you know, I was thinking about this for a very, very long time. As you guys can see on my Instagram page, I have not been selling clothes. I completely took my website off. You know, I'm still handling refunds and stuff like that from people that did purchase while my website was still up. All this crazy chaos, right? And I'm sitting back and I was so burnt out that like I had to take a year off. And the last time I sold clothes was August 22nd, 2022, and right now we are in June of 2023. So I'm basically coming up on a year not selling clothes at all. And all this time I've just been receiving new inputs just to receive new outlooks and outputs on life, right? Because the thing is, it's like if you just keep putting out the same output but you haven't received nothing new coming within, it's just all like you just a hamster running on the wheel. And I was like that for a few years. So I just been sitting back, pondering, reflecting, and I called one of my good friends, Khalil from Wicked Thoughts. He got a streetwear brand called Wicked Thoughts that y'all can all check out. And I gave him a call, and I was just like, damn, like, I was like, bro, like, I'm ready to sell this shit, you know? And this was just like last month. I was like, I'm ready to sell it back in May 2023. He was like, bro, are you sure? So he was like, all right, I can get you in contact with some people that will buy it. So this is obviously what led me up to selling it, because I was just so burnt out and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, fuck it. So what happened was I got in contact with somebody that buys brands, and he's helped many LA brands scale up and things like that. And actually he's one of the founders of one of my favorite streetwear brands growing up. So it was kind of like crazy being on the phone with him, and this is somebody's brand I used to wear in high school, and they ran it up to hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm on the phone with him, and he's, you know, asking me questions, and not really about profit and loss, but more so about the brand and the identity, and he's looking at it and stuff. And one thing that he told me on the call, he was all like, man, I can still hear like grit in you. Like, I don't think that you're ready to sell it. At the same time, he was like, I don't know your personal situation. I don't really know you like that. But just from hearing you speak about your brand, I can tell that you're still passionate about it. And I can tell that you still care about it. And I was just like, you know, like, yeah, you know, I obviously care about it, and I love my community and stuff like that. But where I'm at right now, I'm not trying to be that dude that's like 40 something years old, you know, 10 more years later, just even trying to get this to like an 8-figure company and stuff like that. And he was like, we either have 1 or 2 options. And the first option is, if you sell it, you got to be comfortable being 100% disconnected on wherever it goes. And the second option that we can take is that you hold on to it, you get yourself out of debt, you get yourself in a good position, and you restart over, and you become born again. And it's kind of crazy because like I'm on my 9th year and it's like the number 9 means judgment and being born again and stuff. So I was just like, nah, man, I hear you. One thing that he told me as well on the phone call that I really sat and pondered on, he was like, you don't want to be like Sean Stütze. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he was basically telling me that Sean Stütze sold his brand for $3 million. The brand Stütze, that's a person's last name, and his name is Sean Stütze. They said that he sold his brand for $3 million. And last year alone, Stütze made $140 million off the brand. He sold the equity of his ownership for only $3 million, and he gets no parts of Stütze. And just ponder on that, how his mental is. He was telling me crazy situations that I don't want to like, you know, put on YouTube and stuff like that. But I was just like, damn. He was saying how he doesn't know how big my brand can be and all this other stuff. But he was like, if you can live with that type of feeling of if this became an $80 million brand or a $50 million brand and we just gave you, you know, a few $100,000, could you sit with that if you saw Lord knows all over the place? And he was like, don't give me an answer, just sit on it. So as he's telling me this on the phone, like ponder on it, I'm pondering right then and there, like, can I really sell my brand and see some people that aren't attached to it or anything just take it to a whole other level? But one thing that was kind of like a red flag on the phone call was he was basically telling me that my brand is so small that even if I was to sell it for the X amount of dollars, that I would have still been the creative director in the face of the brand, because as soon as my following knows that I sold that brand, they're all leaving, right? So he was like, to keep everybody there, your face is still gonna have to be attached to it, and they would have just been giving me a small percent, and I would have still been the creative director making all the clothes and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be eating off the full operation at all. So let's just say they would probably give me like 5-6% ownership, and I'm just eating off the net profits off of that, and then they taking it to 10, 20, 30, 40 million a year or whatever. But it's like, that's crumbs compared to what the company is making on an annual basis, you know what I mean? And if I was to sell the brand, I don't want my face to be attached at all. I just want to do my own thing, go live in the woods with my lady and my son and just raise babies and just be like, that was the moment in my life, and keep it at that. As I reflected more and as I sat back more, you know, and it was probably the longest 24 hours of my life. And it's not like I had to give him a decision like right then and there, but you know, if I was willing to move forward, he was like, we can rock out and make it happen, you know? So I just sat back, you know, for a cool 1 to 2 days, and I just really reflected. And I called my friend Khalil back that runs Wicked Thoughts, and shout out to Khalil, because he told me something very important on that phone call. He said, bro, how can you quit when you haven't even won yet? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was telling me, he was like, bro, of course you've been running your brand for 8 years. Everybody knows that you're one of the most slept on brands of all time, but you haven't even had your moment yet. He says, if you're going to quit anything, at least make it an honorable quit. He was like, if you took it to a $5 million level, $10 million level, or multi 6 figures a month, and then you decide to quit, he was like, that's respectable, and a lot of people will respect you for that. But you haven't even gone on a crazy run yet to even quit. So he was like, so how can you put 8-9 years into something and now you just like, fuck it, I'm done with it? And I really sat back on those words, and I was like, bro, you know what? You're right. I was like, I haven't even gone crazy yet, even doing this for 8-9 years, you know what I mean? So I was just like, you know what, fuck that. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to come back strong. I'm going to come back the right way, the correct way, with my team, with the capital, with more resources, and with more knowledge that I gained taking this break off of the brand. So with that being said, you guys, that's basically my whole story kind of this past year on what led me up to selling my brand, you know, why I didn't sell it, you know what I'm saying, and why I'm deciding to keep it and stick through with it. So all of my Lord knows followers out there, all the supporters over the years, I just want to say first and foremost that I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying, for just not being there for you guys this whole entire past year. And I know that you guys hate me. Probably some of you guys probably talking bad about me in Reddit forums and stuff like that, but I'm just keeping it 100. You gotta imagine doing something for 8 years straight and just super burnt out. There's no excuse to that though. I understand that some of you guys purchase items from us and that that you guys didn't get them in a timely fashion, you know, we're still working on refunds. There's no scamming with me. There's no snaking. You know, some of you guys, I done grown with y'all since y'all was in high school, and now I'm seeing a lot of y'all become young adults now. There's no scamming with me. I'm not a fake dude like that. Everybody's going to get their money back plus some. I promise that. Not just only that, I'm about to turn the website back on. I'm about to reply back to all the DMs over this past year. And just to put it out there too, it's kind of a good thing that I took this year off, because I've been able to help other people with their brands, give them my experience, and that's been like priceless. And seeing people that I've helped and built relationships with as well, seeing them take their brands to another level, that's been a beautiful thing to see too. So if any of you guys need help with your brand, you know what I'm saying, if you guys need any type of resources, knowledge, capital, you know what I'm saying, we're a one-stop shop. I can definitely help you out with that. And with that being said, man, love is love, and Machiavelli is out. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.